Imagine a child not only capable of murder, but committing such acts repeatedly. These young killers defy our understanding of innocence and brutality. Dive into the chilling world of the youngest serial killers, where age is no barrier to horror. Discover their stories, their motives, and the grim outcomes of their lives. Eric Smith was born on January 22, 1980, in Steuben County, New York, USA. He had a challenging childhood marked by bullying and struggles with anger management. His distinctive red hair, glasses, and freckles made him a target for teasing, which contributed to his troubled behavior. Eric also had learning disabilities and emotional problems, which made it difficult for him to fit in with his peers. On August 2, 1993, 13-year-old Eric Smith encountered 4-year-old Derek Roby on his way to a summer camp in the small town of Savona, New York. Eric lured Derek into a secluded wooded area where he strangled him and repeatedly struck him with a large rock. Eric also inserted a stick into Derek's body, a gruesome act that shocked the community and law enforcement. Eric was arrested after witnesses reported seeing him near the crime scene. During his trial, Eric's defense argued that he suffered from a severe mental illness, but he was ultimately found guilty of second-degree murder. He was sentenced to a minimum of 9 years to life in prison. Throughout his time in prison, Eric was denied parole multiple times, with the parole board citing concerns about his lack of remorse and the potential danger he posed to society. Despite these denials, Eric continued to work on his education and personal development while incarcerated. In 2021, after spending 28 years in prison, Eric was granted parole and released in February 2022. His release sparked controversy and debate about rehabilitation and the justice system's handling of juvenile offenders. Craig Price was born on October 11, 1973, in Warwick, Rhode Island, USA. He grew up in a suburban neighborhood and was known to be a troubled youth with a history of violence. Despite his issues, Craig managed to hide his dark side from most people, appearing to be a normal teenager. At age 13, Craig committed his first murder by killing a neighbor. However, it was 2 years later, at age 15, when his crimes escalated dramatically. On September 1, 1989, Craig broke into the home of Joan Heaton and her 2 daughters, Jennifer, 10, and Melissa, 8. He brutally stabbed Joan 57 times, Jennifer 62 times, and Melissa 30 times. The ferocity of the attacks was horrifying, with Craig using kitchen knives found in the house. Craig was arrested shortly after the murders. He confessed to the crimes in chilling detail, showing no remorse. Due to his age, he could not be tried as an adult under Rhode Island law at the time, and he was sentenced to serve until his 21st birthday. His case highlighted the inadequacies of the juvenile justice system in dealing with violent offenders. Craig's behavior in prison continued to be violent and unmanageable. He was involved in numerous altercations and incidents that extended his sentence multiple times. He also refused to undergo psychological evaluations or participate in rehabilitation programs. Craig's continued dangerous behavior has kept him incarcerated well beyond his original release date. As of now, Craig Price remains in prison, with his release date uncertain due to the ongoing concerns about his threat to society. Jesse Pomroy was born on November 29, 1859, in Charlestown, Massachusetts, USA. From a young age, Jesse exhibited disturbing behavior, including torturing animals and bullying other children. His family life was unstable, with his father being abusive and his mother struggling to control him. At the age of 14, Jesse's violent tendencies escalated to murder. His first known victim was a 4-year-old boy named Horace Mullen, whom Jesse brutally killed with a knife. The boy's body was found with multiple stab wounds, and his head was nearly severed. Jesse was quickly apprehended and confessed to the murder. Further investigation revealed that Jesse was responsible for the disappearance and death of another young girl, 10-year-old Katie Curran. Her body was found in the basement of his mother's dress shop. Jesse had lured her there, where he killed her in a similarly brutal fashion. Jesse was tried and found guilty of both murders. Due to his age, he was not sentenced to death, but was instead sentenced to life in solitary confinement. He was sent to the Massachusetts State Reform School, but his violent behavior continued, leading to his transfer to an adult prison. Throughout his life in prison, Jesse remained a problematic inmate. He attempted escape several times and continued to exhibit violent tendencies. Despite multiple appeals and attempts to gain his freedom, he spent the rest of his life behind bars. Jesse Pomroy died in prison on September 29, 1932, at the age of 72. His case remains one of the most infamous examples of juvenile violence in American history. Mary Bell was born on May 26, 1957, in Newcastle upon Tyne, England. Her early life was marked by neglect and abuse. Her mother, Betty, was a prostitute who frequently left Mary in the care of others, and her father was often absent. Mary's troubled upbringing contributed to her disturbed behavior from a young age. At the age of 11, Mary committed her first murder. On May 25, 1968, she strangled 4-year-old Martin Brown in an abandoned house. The next day, Mary returned to the scene with her friend Norma Bell, and they vandalized the property. The police initially treated Martin's death as an accident. Just a few months later, on July 31, 1968, Mary and Norma lured 3-year-old Brian Howe to a wasteland, where Mary strangled him. This time, she mutilated his body with scissors, carving an M into his stomach. The police quickly connected the two deaths and focused their investigation on Mary and Norma. During the trial, it was revealed that Mary had shown no remorse for her actions. She even returned to the crime scenes to taunt the families. Mary was convicted of manslaughter on the grounds of diminished responsibility and was sentenced to life imprisonment. Norma was acquitted of all charges. Due to her young age, Mary was placed in a secure children's home and later transferred to a series of different institutions. In 1980, at the age of 23, she was released on license and granted anonymity to start a new life under a different identity. Mary's case has remained controversial, with debates about her rehabilitation and the justice system's handling of juvenile offenders. Her current whereabouts are unknown, and she continues to live under a protected identity. Amarjeet Sada was born in 1998 in Begusarai, Bihar, India. He came from a poor family, and details about his early life are sparse. However, it is known that Amarjeet began displaying violent tendencies at a very young age. His family was aware of his actions, but did little to stop him. Amarjeet's crimes came to light when he was just 8 years old, making him one of the youngest serial killers in the world. He confessed to killing 3 infants, including his 8-month-old sister and a 6-month-old cousin. The third victim was a neighbor's 6-month-old baby girl. Amarjeet's method of killing was shockingly brutal. He would strangle the infants and then crush their heads with a brick or stone. The community was horrified when Amarjeet was finally apprehended. Due to his age, he could not be tried as an adult under Indian law. Instead, he was placed in a children's home for rehabilitation. The lack of public information about his current status makes it difficult to know what happened to him after his detention. Amarjeet's case raises significant questions about juvenile justice and the rehabilitation of young offenders. Given the severity of his crimes and his young age, the authorities faced a challenging situation in determining how to handle him. It is presumed that he remains under state care, with his identity likely protected to prevent vigilantism. Amarjeet's story is a disturbing example of extreme violence in a very young individual, and it highlights the difficulties in addressing such cases within the framework of the justice system. His future remains uncertain, and the public can only speculate about whether he has shown any signs of rehabilitation or if he will ever be able to reintegrate into society. Thank you for watching.